What's good, guys? Judas here, welcome to the video. This is my Stamina Templar PvP solo outnumbered 1vx small scale group build for the Dragonhold patch. This is a 2H sword and board medium armor build with a lot of tank ability, a lot of damage, really balanced, really great all round build. I'm going to start this video off with just a 2-minute sort of discussion into the channel, into my content, into what I'm doing. I'll put a timestamp below right now and sort of put a time you need to skip to if you want to skip past this. But if you don't want to skip past this, it's just a little introduction, so stick around. Let's get into this. So yeah, the build is very strong. A lot of people are talking about Stamplar right now and they're saying Stamplar's now OP, Stamplar's now this. Stamplar has never not been OP. Stamplar has always been in a good place. But you're getting Zerglings now, and you know, anything is OP when you're outnumbering people, when you're Zerging on it, when you're glass cannoning on it. Alright, so for me, Stamplar has always been OP. This build's not about that. This build is not too high damage, not too crazy. It's balanced, alright? It's optimized for 1vx, and it's optimized for small group. And when I say small group, I mean 2-man, 3-man. You know, there's other builds out there if you want to be glass cannon in this, if you want to be Zerg in this, but it's a really strong build. If you've not seen already, I've got a Stamsorc build out now. It's doing really well. Love playing that thing. High dizzy damage, high mobility, crazy heals. That's linked below if you want to check that out. To my new subscribers, I've had a surge of new subscribers recently. Thank you very much. To the OGs that's always been around all through the good times, through the bad times, through getting there to that 1k. Thank you very much. But if you're new to the channel and you're liking the content, if you're liking what I'm bringing, feel free to drop a sub. That's always greatly appreciated. In a moment we'll get into this build vid and we'll go through the ins and outs. It won't be a quick build video. As you know, I like to cover everything in detail. You know, screw those copy and paste builds, Magplars, Wardens, not specifically those, but I come across them all the time where the guy's just got the build off YouTube, they've not adapted it, they've not learned anything. You know, copy it exactly how I run it if you like, but I want you to learn something from this. I want you to adapt, sort of make those changes and keep pushing that outnumbered gameplay, keep pushing that 1vx. That for me is just PvP right now. It's a challenge, it's not easy, but it's completely doable. You can see the mobility I've got here. I've dropped Troll King, I've got on Bloodspawn, my heals are strong still, sort of from the way I've designed this build and set up. I've had a little help from Billy C7 with the CP and with their sort of his knowledge of sword and board, so shout out to him, his channel linked below. But yeah guys, Judas, Dawn's Berserker, let's get into this, let's do this. As stated, this is a 2H sword and board build. I'm not here to dictate to you what to run, but obviously this setup works towards the 2H sword and board playstyle. The big factor for me was that I thought the build wouldn't have high mobility. This build really does. You've got survivability through tankiness, through heals, through mobility, and through damage. So if you want to run bow, you want to run dual wield, you want to mix it up, look at some of my old videos. But this, with the CP, the skill setup, the way I'm going to explain how you play it, is catered towards the 2H sword and board playstyle. I know it sort of is the meta this patch. I always like to go against the grain, against the meta. You know, I've been running Fury on this build for ages. Even when Fury only procced by crits and everyone was like, you need to soak up the dots and the crits, it won't work on Stamplar with cleanse. Alright, I've been running this stuff. I've been going against the meta, playing in unorthodox ways. This might seem pretty traditional, pretty standard, pretty much what you guys might be used to sort of in general. But it's a build that works, it's effective, it's optimized for that 1vx, for that sweet outnumbered gameplay. So first we'll go over the stats real quick. I must say that none of these stats sort of, there's no continuous. I've got a little quest to do there. No continuous, so we'll go over the stats, sort of the flat back bar stats, so we can see really high regens, really nice max stamp pool. That's important for our damage of power of light and our sustain. If you think about stamina recovery and having your max pool, if you get those both at a sweet spot, you know, you're laughing with that. Really happy with everything else. In terms of resistances and damage, this can go up. The resistances I'll show fully buffed in the next screenshot. I'll show the damage, I'll show some tooltips as well. But it's really well rounded. We can see we've already got decent resist even without Bloodspawn procced. We'll go to the front bar real quick, just keep these buffs active. If we go into the front bar, we can see some nice damage with savagery. You know, we buff the crit up even higher. We've got good resistances, good all round. Like I say, it's a very balanced build. So I'll quickly just go over the sort of maximum damage, maximum stats with the buffs fully active. The second sort of screenshots, they won't have continuous either. Alright, I'm not trying to cheese anything. You know, you can push this build a little higher with continuous, but I'm just trying to show you what's achievable. Having seen the tooltips and the character sheet, the stats that you get when Bloodspawn's up and when Fury's fully up, it's really important to understand that the way this build works, it's optimized when you have those, and the uptime on them when you're playing Outnumbered is going to be quite a lot. Fury will be ticking up full, watch that buff timer, Bloodspawn will be proccing all the time, you get that ulti-gen as well. It really works so well in providing a really balanced build. And even at sort of base stats, you can see the build, we forgot the rally there, the build isn't far off being good at this stage, but when you get Bloodspawn pushing, and when you get the Fury fully buff proc from there, you're laughing, you're going to town with damage. So let's get into the sets that grant us this. Obviously I've been talking about Fury quite a lot. This is how we set it up. We take it off the armor. By having Fury off the armor, you're allowing yourself to get full Undaunted and go full medium on the body as well, which really works well with the build. So we throw this on the 2H. I've gone Greatsword. You could go Maul, could go Axe, adapt, test. Just play it whichever way you want to play it. It's not like it's PvE. In different circumstances, so different things can be better, can be worse off. There's no exact meta. A lot of people rate Maul. I had this, I wanted to throw it on. I've not changed it since. It's doing alright. You can see the videos I've been pulling. So yeah, Fury 2H Neuroned, really strong set. It changed a while back, but it's still strong, still really effective in getting that really high damage. We throw the Fury then on the jewelry. You need to be going all weapon damage, enchanted for infused. Gold this out. This really does help Fury become better off in that medium when that damage stacks. Stackability is what you want. This is where we go with that, and we finish Fury off so it's on both bars on the sword and shield bar. But Fury on both bars is really effective. It opens up the medium sort of play style, the damage you can get from medium, and as well as that, it's really helping your heals from a defensive perspective, and you can instantly switch offensive and get some good damage from it. So a great all-round set. We'll talk about the poisons just while we're here. If we look at these poisons, these are good poisons, man. Major Expedition and Snare. So 40% Snare. Wait a minute, yeah, reducing their movement speed by 40% and increasing yours by 30% for that sweet 6 seconds. So these poisons, hit me up if you want to know how I'll make these. I'll find out. I can't tell you off the top of my head, not at the crafting table, but these are strong. And you can see 10-second cooldown, uptime 6 seconds. They're going to be really effective. Alright, so let's talk about the monster set. By putting medium on the body and going Fury, which is a heavy set, on the weapons and jewelry, we can see that actually we can go for the full Undaunted, and the full Undaunted is so needed. It's a requirement on this build. Alright, with that, just get it done, get it sorted. Without it, you're not going to be pushing such high numbers compared to what you would be. It really pays off when you think about your stats. When you think about your pool of max stam health and magicka, you need the magic for the magic cleanse. Alright, Zos, cleanse used to be Stamplar and Maglar's things. It seems like everything in its mother, every new class has got an access to some sort of cleanse. Cleanse is OP, alright? When you think about being outnumbered and you've got Zerglings throwing dots on you, you've got that endless hail, you don't need to worry about dots too much, but dots when you're outnumbered can become a pain. Cleanse counters that, so the mag pool is really nice. So where were we? Yeah, Bloodspawn, heavy and light to get the full Undaunted. Then we get stamina recovery from this. Obviously, 6% chance to gen ult. Generating ult is so strong on this setup, especially because of I forget the passive. It's to do with power of the light, so I'm guessing it is in the Dawn's Wrath tree for the Dawn's Berserker. That's right. Where are we? Casting a Dawn's Wrath ability generates 3 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. So by spamming this and using this alongside with Bloodspawn, all of a sudden you're getting really nice ulti gem. So yeah, Bloodspawn all the way, and obviously they're getting the increased resistances as well. So when we're in the rune, as you've seen, and when we've got Bloodspawn procced, we're looking very tanky, still on a high damage medium setup with great mobility. So the next set I want to talk about, Hulking. Alright, Hulking is just a strong all-round set. You can consider Bone Pirate and compare it to Bone Pirate, but then you're limited to running Dubious. We don't run Dubious on this. We don't run any of the gold food. We run the soup. I'll get into that in a second. But this works really well with the food, with the soup, and actually it gives us that nice stamp pool to increase tooltips even more. I know on builds you can get away with lowering the max stam and increasing the weapon damage, but you will see a reward by stacking sort of not equally into both, but by stacking into both, you'll see a really nice return on your tooltips and your damage and your overall sustain. So we finished the hulking off just on all the medium pieces. I still need to gold some of this out. In terms of enchants, we go for the triglyphs, and I think we have 3. We have it on the big pieces, all the big pieces, so the legs, the chest and the head. This is worth doing because you've got access to full undaunted. Health is always nice, and obviously the magic is always really nice for cleanse, to have that to keep you in the fight. So that is pretty much the setup, guys. All in pen, medium pieces, all the other ones you're just going to go stam on there, and that pretty much covers the setup. So we'll get into the skills. Okay. So for the skill setup, this is quite specific to the way I play this build. So obviously I encourage you to adapt, to try different things, but stick with sort of around this and go for the sort of flexibilities and the sort of alternative sort of setups that I suggest. Okay, Power of the Light, we'll start off with this. Really strong, really high damage. It can now crit. I've seen sort of 9 seconds, what am I talking about? I've seen like 9k, 10k crits being thrown out by this build, if not higher, depends how scrubby the guys are that you're packing up. But this for me is such a strong move on Stamplar. It defines Stamplar. You get the minor breach. In terms of your combos, you obviously got to put it on them. It does some initial damage, and then you just sort of feeding the damage in. Cancel's really nice. You can sort of finish it off. It will blow up, kill those guys, bringing them down. Really nice to combine with all your other skills as well. It's just a Stamplar staple. All right, Power of Light, taking souls, loving this. Okay, this is your first flex spot. Repentance is really nice just because of the AC. It just looks sweet. There's nothing better than wrecking some fools, killing them, packing them up, and then you've got the ability to sort of to take those resources, those sweet resources. It looks sick with a dodge roll as well. I mean, just look at that. But yeah, for real, in terms of sort of swapping things in and out, Beast is good, really nice on chokes, really nice on in terms of that extra damage that you'd get from the Fighters Guild passives as well. I don't use this because obviously I've got Shuffle. This is nice, especially for the crit damage, but for me, my Magicka is Cleanse. Magicka for Cleanse, nothing else. That's how you run Stamplar, that's how you make Stamplar effective. Deep Thoughts is really nice for that sweet sort of return. This is really nice in group if you're playing, if you want to up your damage. You can swap out the Mundus, mix and match, and then you can got sustain this way. Just got to make sure you get to line of sight and you get that cleanse off. And obviously rapids just to get around, you know. I love the rapids, man. Major gallop, 30% speed, a mount of 30 seconds, gotta have this. So if you get into a fight, you're not really missing anything. It doesn't really affect the stats too much. You might get a bit less max, a bit less stam recovery from the passives, but all in all, it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, those are the options. That's sort of the flex spot. Let's get back into this, put Repentance on. Okay, bread and butter, jabs. Jabs is just nice. The way it weaves this patch, the speed you can get the jabs off it, sort of when you're going for it, it's just nice. It does leave you open in the sense that it's a channel, but if you're using this right, you know, you'll effectively be chipping people's life away, getting the burst down. You won't be in such a problem. Obviously, you've seen the tooltips go up really high. At base, the tooltips are nice already, alright? But you've seen the tooltips with Fury and what I can push. Next thing we want to talk about is Javelin. Alright, Javelin is a reliable CC. You know I'm a sucker for Dizzy. You know I fancy that Dizzy Swing. You know, the Dizzy Swing tooltips wouldn't actually be too bad on this with the max stam. Not even got it. Let's quickly check Dizzy. So, you know, you're going to be looking at a decent amount, but it's just you want that reliable stun. In the past, I've run Dizzy quite a lot. We can see it's nothing too crazy, to be fair. You know, you're looking at 14k, which isn't bad. It's going to be peaking around sort of 17, 18k with Fury. But for me, Javelin is OP right now. It's such a sweet move to cancel. You can cancel it with a bar swap. You can cancel it with a cheeky block. Alright, just comes out of nowhere. It is a bit bad against sort of dodge roll targets, people that are spamming that dodge. you can see that actually it's gonna be an hard CC to land. But most of the time when you're surprising people, especially a lot of magic classes that aren't rolling, you know, they're eating this. This thing now does piercing damage. Piercing true damage. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh, man. Sort of raw damage. The damage is what it does because it ignores the pen move. Rally, we all know about rally. We've got to get that burst heal off, we get that weapon damage, and we get that endurance for that sweet stamina recovery as well, and a really, really strong burst heal. We don't get the heal over time, but we get that really good strong burst heal. I can see the effect that it has on our regens, pushing that 1-9. So, you know, regens on this build, they're easily with a kill on the 2H bar. With when you've got the buff from the rune, you're pushing well into like the 2-5s, if not higher. All right, you might be able to get away with it. I'm sort of learning the 2H and sword and board playstyle. If anything, I wouldn't say I'm over sustaining, because there's video clips where the last 1vx where the food runs out and I don't notice it. But yeah, you know, the sustain on it is sweet, so feel free to adjust that to your capabilities, to your experience. That's what we'll say there. We can see that actually it's just a strong move. All right, you get the ignoring of the resistances, just like the javelin, but where it's different is you consume the resistances. So you take that and you've got that equal to direct damage equal to 100% of the target, of the amount ignored from the initial target, for 5 seconds. All right, so you're gaining that. So really, I'm sort of justifying this tank meta, saying it's working really, really good. Resistances aren't everything. That's why we need damage, we need heals, we need mobility. You can't just rely on one thing, especially when you're wanting to optimize for 1vx. But obviously really, really nice. Dawnbreak for me, it's not been the same since it was changed when you can't cancel it. It just feels sluggish. Alright, you've got people that's quite fast anyway, and then moving through you. The easiest thing to counter in PvP, move through someone. No one hates anything more than having to constantly do a 180, so you want to be jumping over them, you want to be moving through them, just keeping them on the toes. And when you're doing that, Dawnbreaker isn't great. Obviously in groups you could run Dawnbreaker, you could run the Adric Spear line as well, and either morph of this will do fine. So that's where you want to mix it up, guys. It's up to you really in terms of how you set it up. Okay, so let's go into the back bar. Small rune, restoring focus, 791 stamina cost. This is Stamplar through and through. Second staple when you think about Power of Light. The second move I always talk about is this. So we get that sweet, sweet stamina recovery. 240 every second. Most people know this, but your character sheet, so this 1-9 runs flat over 2 seconds. So if you think about what we're getting in terms of on our character sheet, it's well over 400 every second. That's what I mean when I say sustain in this is sustain on this build is really, really sweet. All right. Such a strong move. We also get the resistances as well, 50% increase if we're standing in it, which is not hard to do. You know, you're wanting to keep it active all the time for your resistances. It's easy to line of sight on this to make your way back into it, to keep those resistances active. Really, really nice buff when this was changed. It was such a needed change. Really, really liking Stamplar with this. Okay, our Vigor tooltips. Our Vigor tooltips don't seem too high, but from our defenses, and when we get our Fury up fully, we're looking at a really, really strong Vigor tooltip. You can see almost 20k there, so it's not too bad over 4 seconds. So yeah, Vigor, main heal, keep it active all the time. We don't need Troll King on this build by dropping the health regen foods and using soup and stacking into regens and resistances. You know, you're fine with this. Okay, Stamplar money move. Cleanse, man. 4.5k magicka, but worth every push of the button. You know, so many times when you've been outnumbered by defiles, by dots, you're taking that raw damage, you can get that sweet full recovery by this cleanse. And also on top of that, we've got a nice heal. Alright, 3k heal every 2 seconds for 24 seconds. And, you know, we're on line of sight, we're in it. Alright, or more or less in it. We're practically going to be able to stay in this, cover this. It covers so much ground, it makes it really, really useful. And obviously you can see by having the Akijos, the Triglyphs, by having the Undaunted, you know, we could get in quite a few cleanses off. We can see we've got those recoveries. I'll talk about another setup that you could potentially run at the end of the video if you want to punch out a better sustain and higher magicka. I'll go over that option towards the end of the video. But yeah, let's get back into this. Okay, Deep Slash. Oh, what a move. Right, sword and board, this is where it's at. Deep slash tooltip with Fury up is looking really good. I don't know off the top of my head what that is, but you can kill people and you can put damage out with this. And then you've got the movement speed snare by 30%. So we've got the double snare on this, the snare from the poison and then the snare from this. But this is the kicker, all right? AOE minor maim. This is strong as hell, all right? All enemies take minor maim, reducing their damage done by 15% for 12 seconds. So think about this as, you know, it's making you tank it by keeping this up. The group that it hits, they're doing 15% less damage. This is what makes you so tanky. Such a strong move. Really effective. Shuffle's the OG, man. We're in medium. We need that 25% damage mitigation from AoE effects. Obviously that includes jabs, that includes a lot of ults. You know, you've got leaps, you've got Dawnbreaker if people aren't running the sort of single target burst options, and then we get the snare remover tier for finally it's now at a good cost. 2.5 stam is fair for this. Gone are the days of it being 3k plus, and we can see right at the bottom there we get the 5-second sort of snare removal. We get the little sort of drifting up to indicate that, and we get it on the buff tracker as well. So yeah, really strong, really great setup. And then lastly, undo. You know, sometimes this won't work. You saw it in the build video just before. I got it working, then I didn't get it working, but you know, read the passive, guys. While slotted, minor protection, reducing damage taken by 8%. Even though we've not got things that give us resistances apart from Bloodspawn, with this damage mitigation of 8%, with this, while tanking out in our small room, our ability to block, our ability to use Bloodspawn, it really rounds the build off so well and makes it very effective. So I'll guess next we'll cover the way I set this up and talk a little bit about the food. The food, okay, this is nice if you want in the try recoveries. Obviously the other version, Arteum, is nice if you want in the health regen, but the answer is this, guys. Simply put, soup, alright, lavafoot soup and salt rice is OP. Just look at this, almost 5k max stam and almost 500 recovery when you are not wanting to stack into crazy high health, alright, or HP regen. This sweet ass blue food is the option for you. Alright, this is what you need to do. Obviously the downside is you get the small max health bar. This puts you off for like maybe a couple of PvP sessions, then all of a sudden you'll get used to it and it looks pretty clean. I don't mind it now. I detested it when I first made this change, but it's not too bad at all now. I really don't mind it. So you might be thinking, yeah, health, we know we don't get any health from this. We simply make that up through, man, where the heck do I go for this? Not in my skills. Where we go into the, is it on the character sheet? Yeah, we're going to the character sheet, man. Jeez, dipped out there for a second. Right, 20 in health gives us a really nice return and gets us to 25k, and obviously we're getting that return on the Undaunted as well. If you want to go more, just adjust it as you fit, but I think this is the sweet spot. You know, we're almost 38k max stam and 25k health, 12k mage almost. You know, it's really strong. So this is a setup for me. Go to the shrine, man, reset this, tweak it around, see what you prefer, but for me this is a sweet spot. Maybe you want to run 23k health, just lower it, mix and match. It obviously will eat into your max stam. You'll consume a bit of that, but this is the way I set it up. I talked about Mundus, but regen, we may be over sustaining, but it comes to the way you play a class, you need to have that sustain initially. Then when you get better at it, either a play style or a burst, the way you're bursting, the way you're mitigating damage, you could eventually drop this. Obviously you've got savagery, you've got the eye crit anyway, so and health regen from the steed and speed is wasted, so you'd go weapon damage. Alright, so if you want to get those tooltips even higher, even fatter, you can easily swap this out for weapon damage. Choose what you will. We talked about poisons initially. In terms of potions, OG pots, where are we? Just the standard immovables. Immovables are really nice when you don't want burst to get messed up. You got that stam regen as well, plus the stam regen that you get from the 2H passives by killing on the 2H bar. Depends if you've got scrubs. It's nice killing on the sword and board bar. You know, you got that low slash light attack, low slash bash. But yeah, you know most of the time you're going to be getting this on the 2H bar, and the knockback is great. All right, the 10-second knockback, it just allows you to stay active, allows you to stay mobile, and really take targets down. This used to be great. It did receive a nerf. It's not bad to get you out of execute range, but for me I'd rather keep the pressure on and go offensive with the immovables right here. Lingering health, just ignore the rest of that stuff. These are the ones you want, just a standard stam, health and knockback. Mundus, poisons, character sheet. We need to see this thing's pretty face. No, you're not going to see my orcish face. Yes, we are an orc. Orc for me, it's just the balanced ass race. Max stam 2k, health by 1,000. The sort of health that you get from the weapon abilities there, you could probably leave that. Not really a deal breaker. But then we get Swift Warrior. Boom. 258 flat weapon damage with Fury is OP, and then the speed that we get reduce the cost of sprint by 12% and increase movement speed by another 10%. So when it comes to sprinting on the 2H bar, this is where it's at. Alright, this was the downside of the build I initially thought, but by setting it up like this, you can be really fast, really mobile just on this build. Look at me, I'm putting laps into this kid. Okay, fat onslaught. 43 crit man on that ad. So yeah, orc for me is just where it's at. Really like an orc right now. Obviously, if you want to have sort of more damage mate, better ults, quicker ults, there's lots of other options. Nord's pretty effective. Lots of other balanced setups, but this is just the one I go for. In terms of the skills and sort of the setups, you obviously want to be engaging off of the back bar, putting in putting in the maim on the group by using this, and obviously you're going to proc the poisons as well, and then you're going to get that speed and that damage mate from doing this. Really nice weave. You can just go light attack into low slash. If you want to add more damage, you can put in a quick bash as well. I'll just show you what that looks like real quick. So light attack and then bash at the end of it. Really nice in terms of setting up that damage, just putting out that extra burst. Quickly show you again. Light attack, low slash, bash. Just a nice bit of damage, just a nice way to set it up. And then it's pretty much self-explanatory from there. Keep your defenses up, keep defending, block in terms of the amount of blocking you can do on this build. It's not exactly perma block, but you can get quite a lot of blocking down. Obviously you want to keep power of light up on the burst. You get that major fracture, you get that minor fracture from there as well. And then this is where you can mix it up. You can go on orthodox. Obviously you can put jabs into them to get their health down. Often I've liked, this is a bit of a risk, but it's nice to start with an onslaught, and then the damage ultimately, you've seriously, if you get a power of light and onslaught on someone, you've more or less filled this, so this is going to be hitting at eye damage, then you get them low with jabs, and then you finish them off with the CC. But this can be mixed up. You can pretty much do it in whatever way you like. So let's wrap this build video up with, we'll quickly go over CP. Shout out once again to Billy C7, helped me with this CP. I'm pretty used to Stam CP, but he sort of got deep into the sword and board playstyle and really made it effective for that. So 66 Warlord, 1 into Siphoner just for the effect of that at 0.3%. Okay, 37% into Mooncalf. A lot of you might be thinking, well, no, why not push it higher? It's worth having the spread for 9%. Just by getting 37, it's worth it to allow you to get 49 in here. You'll be doing a lot of weaving and sort of, well, if you're playing it right, you'll be doing weaving on the back bar to get in that stam regen as well. And we're getting a nice split here. We're still medium, so dodge roll dodge is effective, but also we get that block cost reduction as well. So this is just a really nice split. Going to the blue tree, no Troll King, so we want to bump up our flat heals. So those fat rallies, those fat vigor ticks, 43 gives us 10.15%, and this is how we spread the rest out. Alright, physical weapon expert 3, 2.9% on our sword and shield bar and our 2H bar, sort of our light attacks, our heavy attacks, which we're doing quite a lot anyway. Master at arms, this isn't a great return, 81, you're sort of limited, but recently jabs was changed to count as direct damage. This is what's opened the build up for me. For some reason, on Stamplar, Poison Inject just doesn't seem all that good. Man, Blood Craze, it's been nerfed to the ground. the dots went crazy high, then dots went crazy low. They tried to streamline them. You know, screw dots this patch. I'm rocking the damage, alright? So 820 into Master at Arms, no dots on this build, so we don't have to worry about Thermitage, and we can split the rest. 66 into Precise Strikes for that 22% crit on heals and stam. Really, really nice for our healing and for damage. 56 into Mighty, then we put the rest into Piercing. It's just nice to have some initial penetration. Obviously, Onslaught doesn't need it, our Spear doesn't need it, but by putting Power of Light on and getting Minor Fracture plus this, we get some initial pen, which is nice against tankier targets, and it's nice to kill targets even without the ult. You can use this effectively. The last tree, you know, burst is what's going to get you on your ass this patch. This is a big issue this patch. A lot of people are putting out a lot of strong damage, a lot of strong ass glass cannons with snipes, with big ass frags, just ruining your life. Frag to the face, you know, mitigate that damage, mitigate that burst. 23.14%, 73 in Ironclad. We balance out our resistances by putting 30 into Medium Armor Focus. That crit resist by having 43. Dots aren't too much of an issue with this patch, and we have got a lot of uptime on Cleanse, so 26, giving us a return of 11.35%, just works wonders in here, and then leaves us with a nice 49-49 split. Nothing in this one. So that's the CP, guys. Just going to wrap this up, but I'll give you a couple of other sort of suggestions in terms of different setups. I talked about, I alluded to this initially. If you want to set this up and go heavy and have Fury on the body, then have an offensive set front bar. It opens up your back bar. Obviously, you could go Black Rose, bit of cheese, but you know it's really strong. But then you'd have to drop out Shuffle, but you wouldn't need Shuffle anyway with you being in medium. And you could go for the move, sort of the cloak that blade cloak that procs the major protection. Another option is sort of, this is overlooked by a lot of people, but setting this up in heavy and having a damage set on the front bar, and then throwing on the Maelstrom Sword and Board. Maelstrom Sword and Board is strong as hell. All you've got to do is land a deep slash, and I think you've got like a 5-second window to do a heavy attack, and you regen magicka and stamina. I've got this on another character. I did test this and I did like it, but in terms of lowballing sustain a bit more and using the, if you like the heavy weave and you like that sort of very tank setup, Maelstrom Sword and Board back bar with the regens that you get, it's looking really good. Another set that I want to quickly talk about, 7th obviously pretty strong. We're running the HP regen and Troll King. We run that last patch. Essence Thief on paper looks legit good, but until you get a Spore that moves into a bad position when you're trying to 1vx, it's just a pain in the ass, alright? So we don't run that. Deadly is strong, alright? If you want to run a dot setup, so if you want to have bow on the back bar, or if you want to have the dual wield dot setup, this is really strong, because jabs, even though it does direct damage now, it's now fully classified as a channel ability. So we'd get a 20% increase on our jabs, 20% increase on our physical moves, our bleeds, our poison injects. So don't overlook Deadly. I'm not using it on this setup, but Deadly is something that you could definitely use this patch. Hit me up in terms of what you want to see for more content for another class. Obviously I'll be pushing Stamsorc quite a lot, and I'll be pushing Stamplar, using the builds that I've released to get that sweet X. So this pretty much is it, guys. Take it easy, hope you've enjoyed the video. Judas out.